Should I yell Wepa like my dad does in his videos? Wanda bomb cooking. What's up, everyone? It's just David. Um, I am on the fourth of these five sort of videos, ideas that came to me at, it was around 4:30 in the morning. I had a really bad dream. Um, I guess I never really told you guys why I'm doing these, so I'm not a professional, so I'm gonna tell you here on the fourth video. Uh, it was like 4 in the morning, and I had been wide awake because I had a bad dream. I had a dream that I was like being put inside of like a hospital for my mental health. It was like freaky. It was like my worst fear. And just around that time, my daughter woke up and wanted to be in crawl in bed with us, and yada yada yada. I couldn't go back to sleep, and I just end up sitting on the porch, and it's about 4:30 in the morning, 4:15, something like that. I'm a pastor. I make up numbers all the time. Um, and I wrote down these five sort of things that I felt the Lord wanted me to kind of talk about. Is about sharing your story. Is about getting like proper counsel, like professional help. It's about good community, and then this fourth one here is about boundaries and creating proper boundaries in your life. And that's hard because it feels so selfish. As a world, for whatever reason, like we've made ourselves think that if we do something for ourselves, or if we, because the Bible talks about selfish ambition, um, we think that if we have a desire for ourselves to get better, that it's somehow selfish and wrong. But the desire for God is for us to be holy, holy made, and I mean holy with a W, like to be whole, to be whole. Uh, and the way to do that is to kind of create boundaries. And um, one of the things that I've learned, in one of the reasons why I went into this dark, deep season for myself is because and this video is probably going to be the most transparent and honest I get. You may never actually see it. If you do see it, then it's because something good has happened in my spirit, and things have healed. But I was always a personality. Um, for 8 years, I've been a personality. I've been Pastor David. Now, pastor is what God called me to do and to be, but Pastor David was a personality that I put on myself, and there was no boundary to where that ended. It wasn't 5 o'clock that I swiped out and clocked out and then became dad or husband or friend. I always lived inside of this world of no boundaries. And I want to be clear with you, and this might be way specific to those that are in the church world, but pastors and leaders, we do a terrible job of creating proper boundaries um, inside the church. We praise people that are there at the church until 3 a.m. putting something together for Easter service, or we praise, the worker that has their kids asleep under the pews while they rehearse for Sunday morning, and we call that sacrifice. And there is a great deal of sacrifice that goes in, but not at the risk of improper boundaries. And when everything happened where I transitioned out, um, I'm not gonna use fake word. When I lost my job, when everything happened where I was no longer advised that I was no longer employed at a specific location, I had no framework because I didn't know where David started and ended or where Pastor David began, and I didn't know where I was. Is like there was no framework, there was no boundaries. I had created something that was so different and so out of sync and out of whack that there was just no boundaries created, and I struggled because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know where the boundaries of my life were. And fast forward to as I'm dealing with depression and as I'm dealing with mental health, having to create boundaries and having to say, here's where the salesman at Spectrum starts and ends. Here is what family time looks like for my family. And what I found was that there was a healing in setting new boundaries. There was healing and creating new process. There was moving forward in the ability to set things in motion based upon boundaries that are there. This goes not just with your time, but it goes with your interactions, and it goes with sharing what you share. There are boundaries that I have that I don't allow people access to anymore. There are things inside of my heart that I've experienced that I don't go. There are pages, there are web pages, and there are Instagram is one of those things, is one of those places. It's a boundary that I've created that I won't let myself go into anymore. You probably will not see me on Instagram ever again. Um, you will see me on Facebook very limited. I'll come back for a little bit and I'll disappear. You have to create these boundaries in your healing in order to be who God designed for you to be. God didn't design for you to be stretched completely thin. His son Jesus did that for us, stretched himself out for each and every one of us. As you can finally see the hot rod Rowdy Piper shirt that I've been wearing for all these videos. But his son Jesus stretched himself completely thin so that we wouldn't have to anymore, so that we wouldn't have to put ourselves in a position where we didn't know which way to go. The way to God is through Jesus and through creating these boundaries and creating this atmosphere for us to be who God wanted for us to be. And so setting a framework for who you're going to be, having a schedule for who you are designed to be, knowing when is it time for daddy daughter time, when is it time for husband and wife time, when is it time for work, when is it time for creating those boundaries helps you heal. For my family, we set boundaries in who we allow access into our life. We set boundaries in what day of the week we have doctor's appointments. We set a day that is just belonging to us. We set a night where it's just for it's the night that I don't get to watch the Mets play baseball. This is our night. These are boundaries that are valuable in the healing process. And I want you to know it's not selfish to set boundaries. There are friends that are the boundary that you can't go into anymore. There are jobs that you need to be able to clock out of. There is ministry opportunities that you need to say no to. There are friendships that you need to set boundaries and what level of access you allow. Setting boundaries for yourself is going to put you in a position to be whole and who God designed for you to be and allowed for you to heal. Um, this is the fourth video. The last thing we're going to talk about is rediscovering yourself. It's going to be good. I hope you've enjoyed these. If you've made it this far, there's only one more. I hope you are able to watch it and love it and enjoy it. I hope that it's helped just one person. If it helps just one person, then it was worth it. If it didn't help anybody, I'm just being obedient to what God asked me to do. See you soon.